Fans, welcome back to the Coach Show. Been a while. Nick Merrick here with head coach Al Rooney of the Texas Junior Brahmas. Coach, obviously got to talk about the holidays and getting a couple weeks off. So did you get to enjoy your break?
Yeah, did some more traveling on break, even though we had done about 5 straight weekends of travel with the team. But did a different type of traveling. But it was a good break, and in one sense, good to get away and take a bit of a mental break. But definitely great to be back.
Had to be good at least having some family time too.
Yeah, it was for my daughter. It's her first Christmas where she kind of knew a little bit more about Santa Claus and so on and so forth. So it was enjoyable on that side of the equation for sure.
And let's go back to the weekend series against the Ducks, as they will be the opponent this weekend as well. But the last games the Brahmas had before the New Year's was against Point Mallard on the road, and it was one where I remember you said, hey, if I come away with just 1-1-1 on the weekend, it'll be a win with a shortened lineup. And here's the Brahmas coming away with 3 wins, 6 points in the standings against the team that was neck and neck with the Brahmas throughout that weekend. So what was it like, the fact that facing all that adversity, the team, you as a coach being able to pick up those 3 crucial wins coming back here to Brahma land?
It was great all around. I mean, you couldn't have drew up a more perfect response from the guys that we had. We really kind of circled the wagons, and I really think something clicked for the team that weekend. I think we've kind of found our identity. Guys kind of really started to understand what we can accomplish if we just simplify the game plan and go out, execute, and play our roles. We got good goaltending. Our defense really played simple and yet effective, and our forwards really picked their spots. I mean, we had guys that, let's face it, some guys are here to score, some guys are here to hit, so on and so forth, but everybody was doing a little bit of everything, and it really showed. We were executing to expectations, and we really stuck to a game plan and made the other team have to do something special that they weren't able to come up with. And we knew going in, I told you how they had far more penalty minutes than us, so we trapped them. They got frustrated, and it ended up with by the end of the weekend, their number 1 goalie was kicked out and suspended for 20 games. So things definitely clicked, and all around it was just a great weekend, not only for in the standings, but I think from an understanding of the team, we developed what we're capable of doing from here on out.
Well, Mikita Shiptitsky was also named the NA3HL Southern Division Player of the Week after that weekend. And now Point Mallard Ducks are going to be the opponent this weekend, Saturday and Sunday afternoon, Monday late morning. A bit of an unusual schedule here in Brahma land for the NA3 boys. But having that learning experience against the Ducks a couple weekends ago, and now having a 2-week off of break, do you think that was something beneficial for the team, where everybody needed to kind of regroup and take that momentum into a nice break with their family, or do you feel like to some degree it's a bit of a step backwards, knowing that you can't have that regular practice routine every day?
I think it was well timed. We limped into break. We were missing 8 guys. I mean, on that last game before break, we had 14 guys in the lineup. I've never played a junior hockey game with that short a bench, and we won, so it was great. It was fantastic, but we needed the break. 2 weeks, maybe a little bit too much, but we've had 2 practices under our belt, and the guys have been fantastic in practice. So I was mentioning last night to my wife how everything went. We've just jumped right back into it. The atmosphere is good. The guys that weren't there for those games in Point Mallard, upon talking with them, we're really excited about what happened there, and now they want to kind of do their part to keep it going this weekend. Last weekend, Point Mallard lost to both of their games. That's 2 games that they had in hand on us, so they haven't gained any ground. So this is a weekend where we come in, we're fully healthy again, with the exception of 1 player who we thought was healthy, came back in practice, wasn't ready to go, so he'll probably be out for another week. But that being said, we'll have a full lineup all weekend, and I think we're ready to go, and we have the opportunity to now be putting Point Mallard in the rearview mirror and fighting for second place.
Well, big question too is obviously the Brahmas haven't exceeded as well at home as they have on the road. Is that something that you've kind of focused on too this week, to see if the Brahmas can get back on track, in front of a home environment and sleeping in their own beds every night?
Yeah, that's something that I did mention in practice just yesterday. there's things that we want to accomplish and that we've put in front of us, and to a man on the team that we've accomplished that. And that there's just, once you get it, then what's the next step? And now the next step is we're below 500 at home, and we need to rectify that. Especially if we're in the process of trying to climb the standings and establish home ice advantage, well, then we have to make sure that we can utilize that advantage. If we match this weekend what we did in Point Mallard, we'll be over 500 at home. We'll be back into the swing of things. We'll be well established in our overall record. I think we're 4 games over right now. And like I said, we have the chance, if we have a successful weekend this weekend, to be fighting for second place. So that's the next goal.
Just the last point before we take a break, Coach. Obviously, looking at every game now is important, because you mentioned briefly before that Point Mallard has a couple games in hand against the Brahmas, playing 5 more games than the Ducks so far. Looking at it, you have Point Mallard Ducks, and then it's going to be pretty much just Sugar Land and Dallas the rest of the way out for the Brahmas. Two teams that the Brahmas have had success against. So does it make it, how big of an importance that is this weekend compared to all the other weekends the Brahmas have had up to this point?
It's big, because we can really kind of close the door on Point Mallard if we have a successful weekend this weekend. We have 13 games left in the season, so the schedule has really played out for us in the sense that most every team in our division has games in hand on us, but we've put ourselves in a position where we can be in the driver's seat. Records-wise, I mean, you have to play them, but records-wise, we have, with the 13 games left, I told the guys I think we could potentially look at a 10-3 finish, if not better. At a minimum, I'd like to think we can go 10-3, and with the spacing of the games we have, because we've played more games than others, we shouldn't be able to be banged up. We should be healthy going into the playoffs and coming in on a high note. But the responsibility is on us to take care of business, play good hockey, not kind of get carried away with ourselves, stay grounded, and stay focused on each weekend that lays in front of us. But right. I think the table's set where it's in our hands as to how we want to finish and where we can finish and what we can do from there. But we're in a position now where I think we can have a pretty special ending to the season heading into playoffs then.
Well, that special run will start this weekend, hopefully for the Brahmas. Saturday, Sunday, 3:15 games here in the NITEC Sports Center. And then a Monday, late morning game, 11:15. We'll be back here in the shoebox. That'll do it for our first half of the Coach Show. Thanks so much, Al Rooney, joining me. And we're going to take a break on the Vine Life Realty Coach Show. Come back with goaltender Tristan Cantor. Hey, welcome back to the Coach's Show. Nick Merrick now joined alongside goaltender Tristan Cantor. The Brahmas against the Ducks for this weekend. But before we get down to hockey, I got to ask, obviously, how was the break off? Had a couple weeks there to hopefully enjoy with friends and family. Was that a much-needed time off?
Yeah, it was nice seeing friends and family. Nice to get away for a little bit. But, I mean, by the end of it, I was ready to get back.
I think these guys were, the whole team was kind of buzzing heading into the break. And obviously, we saw the Brahmas catch that momentum. Do you feel like it was at the right time?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it was a great time. They were 3 huge games for the standings, and it felt really good just getting 3 wins to go into break with.
And talk about that, too, against the Ducks. I mean, here's you where we've kind of had a goaltender controversy, if you will, as 3 guys equally suited with you and Joe Hacker and Quentin Reynolds to start every night, and getting 2 big wins against Point Mallard. I mean, that obviously had to be something special for you, knowing that this is a team riding the Brahmas in the standings and come away with the 6 points.
Yes, it was. I mean, they were important games, and we pulled through and won all 3, so it felt good.
How much does Al Rooney, talk to you guys about prepping for the upcoming team, and in terms of any special sheets he gives you or any of the guys in preparation of, let's say, when the Ducks are in town this weekend? Is there any scouting reports on him that gets discussed?
I mean, he always has something for us. It's different game to game, but he'll tell us what to expect. He tells us what he expects from us. He gives us a pretty good idea of what we need to do to win. What's
it been like, too, having that 3 goaltender system so far this season? Has it been, at least a little enjoyable where you guys can all kind of feed off each other and get better? Or is it something where maybe it gets a little too crowded and guys sometimes, don't get a start when they should have?
I'd honestly say it's kind of both. I mean, it's really competitive. You have to just try your hardest every day in practice and work for work for playing time, but I mean, it is kind of difficult not playing as much, but it's what we have here, so it's what we have to deal with.
Right. Before you came to the Brahmas, talk to me a little bit about kind of what that big transition was coming to Texas. How was the transition going with the Junior Brahmas into this year and this team, the new team in the North American 3 Hockey League?
I mean, I really don't think it was much of a transition. It's just hockey. It's what I've done before, so just came here and played.
Just keep it simple, right?
Pretty much.
And then obviously this weekend now against the Point Mallard Ducks back in town here. And Coach Rooney mentioned it earlier as well. There's a bit of a break between these two sets of games. So we have 3 games against Point Mallard this weekend, and then it's a full week off. Is it kind of something that break kind of refuels the team and gets them ready for, we can have a week off to kind of relax, get our bodies back in shape, and then come back strong for the next opponent?
I'd say it does. It helps having time off. Gives you more practice time to work on things. So I think overall it helps us.
Do you feel like the locker room's been very positive after knowing that the Brahmas have beaten the Ducks a couple times now in the past?
Yeah, the locker room's pretty positive. We're pretty confident going into this weekend. I mean, we have a much better lineup. They're missing their goalie, so that'll be big.
And we didn't talk about it much previously with Coach, but this Brahmas team is second place in the NA3 league with fewest penalty minutes. Does that make, from a goaltender's perspective, has to be a lot easier knowing that you're used to seeing 5-on-5 ice rather than going down in the PK?
Yes, that does make things much easier, and it's a big reason why we were able to sweep Point Mallard. I mean, their power play was good against us when they had it, but I mean, they didn't have too many power plays.
Right. Now, moving forward, too, obviously, we know how big now this weekend is. We know the previous games or the future games are going to be just as important as this weekend. Brahmas are certainly looking at a playoff spot. Is that something that's been discussed at all throughout the team and seedings and how they want to finish strong and make a statement in the South Division?
Yes, it is. I mean, playoffs at this point are an expectation for us. We know we're there. It's just a matter of putting Point Mallard behind us, and if we have a big weekend, chasing Topeka now.
And then final thoughts going into this weekend. What's going to be the big breakthrough message for this Brahmas team?
Just keep doing what we're doing. I mean, we had a successful weekend against them last weekend. Keep it up. Don't change anything.
So the Brahmas on a bit of a roll heading into this weekend. Saturday, Sunday games, Monday, 11:15. We'll see you back here at the Shoebox, but that'll do it for our Vine Life Realty Coaches Show. For head coach Al Rooney and Tristan Cantor, I'm Nick Merrick. So long from NYTEX.